I believe that what we consider Christ consciousness, which could also be unconditional love, say that unconditional love, acceptance, mercy, um, that the combined resonance of Christ consciousness, Christ consciousness's effect on matter in the 1D plane, meaning like first density, meaning where we are on Earth, this very dense, the very dense reality that we're in. And people will often refer to it also as 3D from like a human science perspective. There's many of us who have been working and are working, and we have a new, based in linear time, we have a new level of Christ conscious awareness that is rocking through the planet. And we're just getting started. This has been going on, don't get me wrong. This has been a work from the very beginning. But there's a shift happening where what has been going on in 3D, or 1D, however you personally look at it, it needs to change. So many of us no longer want to consent to just kind of how the game's been playing out. And so from what I can see, one of the ways that we're changing what is allowed and what is going to happen is by, this might sound a little crazy, but essentially we're taking the heavenly realm energy and we're bringing it down into this realm. And we are transmuting the energy of this realm, and we're creating a whole different reality, almost like a subplane of the heavenly realm. We're in creating this, we're doing away with some of the BS from what I can see that's in between where we are now and the higher, what some would consider the higher heavenly planes. We are changing the resonance or the wavelengths between here and there. They're shifting, because there's just certain things that the majority of us do not want to do anymore. The majority of us do not want to be controlled through tactics of fear and hate. We just don't want to use our energy in that way anymore. And we don't want to be manipulated in that way anymore. So that's what this is. That's what this is. And that is why we are here. I'm giving myself a breath because, okay.
Well, and also you're giving yourself some breath because the real weight of what you just said, I mean, some people can recognize how big that statement is. And, you know,
I was hoping it
you're
was
feeling
clear. I was hoping it came across clear, kind of, not kind of clear, but clearly. Yeah. So what can we do? What can we do? One of the greatest works that we can do as individuals is to tend to the kingdom within ourselves, our kingdom that Christ spoke of. And tending that kingdom is something that we're going to get into a lot more detail in the part 2, because part 2 is about spiritual attachments and soul fragments. So this is about how trauma can truly fracture us and make us feel even more separate from God. We'll talk about how to heal and how to be whole, because God does call us and ask us to be whole in Scripture. And why is that? Why do we ever need to be whole? When were we ever fragmented? So we could talk about that next time, part 2. Part 3 will be on Patreon, and part 3, Patreon will be free. Patreon is free until I don't know when. And but part 3 will be on Patreon because part 3 is going to discuss some of the heavier things about spirituality that some of us could be experiencing and how to break free from that. And of course, I'll share some personal stories, and yeah, we'll just keep that there on Patreon. And everything will be linked below: how to gain access to Detox's artwork, and how to find the Patreon, and the website, which just leads you back to the Patreon and the artwork. All right, so we are creating through love right now. Millions and millions and millions of people who are not in the news are creating in love right now. And one of the most powerful things that we can do is place our attention on love and on our own hearts, and being true and authentic in our hearts, and true and authentic about what is in our hearts and what we believe, and what we're experiencing, and just essentially letting truth flow throughout the entire body.